All right, human body systems for January 8th and January 11th. Let me talk through what I want you to do for this. Just a reminder of where we were. Hopefully you have 422 and 423 turned in. Those should be turned in today. Let's get those in as soon as possible. 425 and 426, you should hopefully have made some progress or be making progress on the sliding filament theory. So sketching that sarcomere diagram, writing out the description of how that works and then how that relates to rigor mortis. And then we'll continue working on the U-dot nerve thing in class. We still have some things to do on that. It's a building to do, but that should be wrapped up pretty soon. I pushed that due date back for this to, well, this is due January 12th, so this is not due till Tuesday. But we're not going to work too much more on this in class. We maybe spend half the period on this in class on Monday. So I want to go ahead and get started into the next lesson as well. So I made a new assignment. It's not going to be due until Thursday of next week. So I'm pushing this back to the 14th. So 425 and 426 is due on the 12th, Tuesday. And then this new assignment, 431 and 432, will be due on Thursday. So let's look at that. And so I need to change that date. I will change this to the 14th. But heart of the matter and varicose veins. You may have heard of varicose veins because a lot of older people, it's more common in older people. And due to many conditions, we're going to look into what causes those. We're also going to look into the cardiovascular system in more detail. And so let's get into what I want you to do. So we're going to do 431 basically in class, most of the 431 stuff. So when you click on this document, it opens here. And let's go up to the top. And so it says insert pictures below of the following items for 431. You'll receive paper handouts of these in class, or you'll draw them in class. And so one of them, I don't have them on here right now, will be the anatomy of the heart. So we're going to start to look at the heart. If we look at activity 431, it's important for muscles. We know about how important oxygen is. Well, in order for muscles to function, we need oxygen, and oxygen doesn't get to the muscles without blood. All right. So we're going to talk about the heart. So, if you think about squeezing a tennis ball, that's about the force of each heart getting the tennis ball to kind of like crush a little bit. So the heart works twice as hard as the leg muscles of a person who is sprinting. That's why heart rate goes up as cardiovascular stress increases. So we're going to look at the different ways that the heart acts in class by doing some drawings. We're going to interact a little bit. And this will take both some Monday and Wednesday of next week when you're here. But it's important for that signal for the heart to be very quickly, done quickly, and to be automatic. So that's why people's hearts can be beating even when their brain is not functioning. So the heart works involuntarily. But that's the pump. And remember, blood is not produced in the heart. We'll talk about where blood is produced later in Unit 5. But the heart is what pumps the blood and moves it throughout the body. And so there are arteries and veins that are necessary to move that, which if you took PBS, you are hopefully familiar with that. And remember, the three types of muscle: skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. This is the cardiac muscle. So we're looking at the cardiovascular system. Here are some links that you can look at. And then there is a diagram here that shows the blood flow of the heart. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about this in class, so I'm not really going to spend too much time talking about it. This shows the electrical signal that goes through the heart. And so we'll get into more details of that in the class. And it shows the different ways that the heart beats. So feel free to look at that if you want to. But we're going to draw this heart box diagram in class, and you're also going to be doing a color coding diagram of a heart in class as well. But basically, the heart is a pump, and the heart is a two-sided pump. One side, the right side, it's considered the right side, gets closer to the right arm. So this is the right side, and so that's where blood is going to flow in. That needs oxygen. Blood that comes back to the body is going to flow in here, and it's going to be pumped to the lungs, okay, through the pulmonary arteries. It's going to go to the lungs, and then it's going to be pumped back from the lungs once it gets oxygen and go to the left side where it will be pushed through the aorta to the rest of the body. All right, so as it goes to the aorta, then it's going to be sent to the rest of the body. And so that's where there's a lot more pressure is in the aortic area. All right, so we'll get into more details on that in class. So what I want you to do in this activity, were the things that we do in class, you'll take pictures of those and insert them into this document. 432 varicose veins gets into more of the structure of the artery and vein. So I thought I would start there since we're going to do more of the 431 stuff in class. So what is an artery and a vein? So if you go into 432, varicose veins, okay, talks about there's 62,000 miles of blood vessels in the body, all right? And so it's an unbelievable number. So if all of those blood vessels were laid out end to end, they would wrap around the earth twice within your human body, right? So that's incredible statistic. But they're, some of them are almost microscopic capillaries, okay? And so you have little branches of the main arteries and veins that branch out and give different, the smallest parts of the body the oxygen that they need. So think of it like a tree branch. You have a main trunk, and then you have little branches and smaller branches from there. So the scenario here is your grandmother, your hypothetical grandmother, has noticed she's starting to see her veins popping out in the back of her legs. Her doctor tells her the development of these spider veins or varicose veins is normal for her age, but she wants to know more information. Since you're the expert in the family, you're going to help her understand why those varicose veins are there and why are there no such thing as varicose arteries, or why we never heard of those. And so if you look in the diagram, there's two diagrams that you're going to draw. Well, there's this initial diagram. You're going to sketch this right here. We're going to sketch basically copy that diagram. Use colored pencils to differentiate the structures. And so if you look at these diagrams here, you can see this is an artery, okay, and this is the vein. So we have our vein and our artery. You see muscular artery, right? So sketch this as best you can, especially these layers, all right, is what's important. So arteries are carrying blood away from the heart, and they're going to carry typically oxygenated blood, with the exception of pulmonary arteries. And so arteries tend to, since they're getting that squeeze from the heart, the left side of the heart has more pressure, applies more pressure. So the aorta and the subsequent arteries that are carrying it have to have greater connective tissue strength and greater muscular strength in order to withstand that pressure. The veins that are coming back to the heart, artery away, and then veins are coming back to the heart, they don't need as much of that structural strength. What they do need, though, that's different, is they need a valve. So one of the key things, if you're looking at this, with the artery, you see a very thick layer of muscle, all right? And you see this elastin, this outer elastin layer, and an inner elastin layer. Elastin is a connective tissue, right? And so you can see that inner and outer elastin. So there's two different layers of the elastin that is the connective tissue that helps with the strength of the artery. So it really has two boundaries or two layers that make up that artery. And then you also have the muscle that's within that. Veins just have the inner elastin with smooth muscle on the outside. And here you can see the smooth muscle is here. So veins kind of stop here. Arteries have a little bit more of an outer layer. And then you see this connective tissue that's on the inside as well, like fibrillin and those types of connective tissue also are involved in maintaining the strength and the integrity and size so that things like aneurysms don't happen. And finally, you have what's called the endothelium, which is like the epithelial tissue that's on the inside that is constantly being replaced. So, and a lumen is basically a fancy word for the hole, the tube that is falling through. The one thing that you do see that veins have that arteries don't is the valve. And so valves are necessary. If let's say blood has to return from your foot back to your heart, it requires, it's fighting against gravity. And so these valves that are in the vein help prevent backflow. So that will help you, I think, with some of your problems on this. The other thing is um, doing this sketch, which is it's a cross section of this. So it's looking at the whole thing as a cross section. So make this drawing, but then also look at this one. It's a little bit more. I kind of like this drawing a little bit better. It has a little bit more of on, looking at it from this cross sectional view, and look at these labels as well, and write those down so you can look at the artery, and then you look at the vein and write those down. So that's what I want you guys to do for. And actually, if you look in there, you can see a valve that's in here. Okay, so if you zoom in on that, you see this valve that's inside the vein that you don't see when you look inside. When you look inside the artery, you don't see those valves in there. All right, so if you want to stay on track with everything, what you should have done between Friday and Monday, before Tuesday, and I put another video out on Tuesday, you should have, we're going to do the 431 stuff in class. You should be getting done with 425 and 426 as much as you can. And then this first page of 431 doing the drawings. We'll talk about the varicose vein stuff more Tuesday, Wednesday. So, and then we'll finish our mannequin building in class. And so that is it. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'd be happy to answer. Thank you.